Testing audio. Okay, we've got audio. Ready to rock and roll. Okay, it doesn't look like it's streaming. Okay, audio. Yeah, all right, we're here. All right, good evening, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. My name is DrWeez, and well, this is my sort of attempt at doing some GeekBench multi-core on the MSI Z170i Gaming Titanium Edition. So this is all in conjunction, or the reason for this is really for the HWBot competition, the MSI competition on HWBot. The MSI Godlike OC competition. This is the extreme version, so there's no limitation on the cooling that I can use. What I've got going on, let's just have a look at the setup that we've got today. So transition across there, right? So delivering the power again, I've got the Corsair Elite Overclockers edition of the AX1500i. For the motherboard, as I said, I'm using the Z170i XPOWER Gaming Titanium Edition. I've got a set of G-Skill BDAW memories. Unfortunately, not the greatest memories, as I've come to find over the last couple of days of testing. But you know what, they're above average, or average, whatever you want to call it. And then for the processor today, I'm using the Intel Core i3 6320. Now, the reason why I'm using the i3 is because the competition has got the scores divided by the number of cores. So when you take the score divided by the number of cores that are running, your percentage is the highest. So it's always good to do the mathematics when looking at competitions as to what hardware you need to use. So everything's set up and ready to rock and roll. I've got Windows 8.1 set up and ready to run. I'm going to just connect the voltages in so that you can see on screen. Just remember, if you are looking at those, that there is a bit of an offset problem at the moment. It's about 0.1 higher than what I read on my multimeter here. So if it says 1.4 volts, it's more than likely 1.3 volts. So just bear that in mind when using it for comparison purposes. Other than that, this is the last day before the close of the competition. The competition does end roughly in about 8 hours time, maybe even 7 hours by now. And yeah, so this will be my last in the series for this competition. Coming on Thursday, we get back into the swing of normal Pro OC Cup. And then there is the new competition that ROG have just announced, which is the OC Showdown. Again, there's an ambient and an extreme side of it. So if you are a rookie or in the lower 3 leagues on HWBot, that's the place for you to go to. The nice thing about that is that there are limitations on cooling and there are limitations on all sorts of things. So it's really, something that any beginner could really take part in, and just for the fun of it, get to grips with how these competitions are run. So I'm going to do a series of streams on that, I think, as well, just to help the guys out, give them a sort of a foundation of how to run the benchmarks, how to submit the scores, and things to watch out for. So if you have a look at like the last Pro OC Cup, a lot of the guys that took part in it actually didn't realize that Broadwell E still has the limitation on what operating system you can use. So a lot of us went and ran with Windows 8, and unfortunately we had our scores deleted because we used the wrong operating system. It is there's a bug that you can exploit, which obviously we didn't do, and I mean, my scores were all done on video, but nonetheless, so that was quite interesting. But anyway, let's stop talking up a storm here and actually get to doing some overclocking. So I'm broadcasting again live on the 3 platforms: YouTube, Facebook, and on Twitch. So if you find that the stream is a little bit up and down on Twitch, please check it out on YouTube or on Facebook. I do only monitor the chat though on Twitch. I'll try and keep an eye on it as much as possible. So yeah, hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, so let's get to it. Let's just power up and let's get the processor down. This will be my first time overclocking the non-K processor on MSI. So it might be a bit of an interesting session. I've left it to the very last minute to get these scores done, which is never a good idea either. And yeah, so let me just check all the streams are running. I didn't get any feedback from Facebook, which is strange. And I've just muted that so when it does eventually come through. Okay, and Twitch is paused. Okay. Alright. And let's just load that up and transition across. Alright, so what have I got going on in the BIOS so far? Well, the one thing I've done is I put the XOC BIOS on. Now, this BIOS does have a hidden feature where it doesn't always detect the serial HA. So we might have some complications with that. We might end up just switching sort of mid-session through to a different, like a beta BIOS rather than the XOC BIOS. Like I said, I've left this right until the very last minute. It's never a good idea because there are multiple BIOSes with different issues that all need to be taken into account. Sorry, before I go any further, let's just quickly pull this up. If it's your first time watching my stream, there's just a few little things that I need to show you on the screen down the bottom here. Right, we've got the system telemetry. That's the real-time temperatures that I'm reading. I'm actually reading it off the screen. I don't have it set up to my fluke at all. Then the voltages V1, V2, that's connected up to the motherboard, and those are real-time voltage readouts as well. I've got one connected to DDR voltage, and I've got another one connected up to CPU voltage. Right, following from that, we then got the hardware. So that's the hardware that's currently being used on the test bench, and then you got the other views up there. So don't be shy. If you got any questions as well, just drop me a message. Okay, so first things first, let's go through and just have a look here. Everything is stock standard default. The first thing you're going to need to do is enable no OC, and that's for the non-K overclocking processor. The next thing we'll do is just go and disable all of the unnecessary peripherals. So LAN, audio, and H bit we leave. Okay, then we will just check the temperature and make sure we can get into Windows again, and then go the next step. What I plan to do, I think the strategy I'm going to use, I think I'm going to go to about 5.5. And then get a baseline score, and then try and push the process up to about 6 gig, and then from 6G set the memory timings, and then from there 6.1 maybe. This chip on the Impact, I have done 6.178 on it before. My previous best on GeekBench 3 multi-core with this processor on the Asus Impact Maximus 8 Impact was a 13,589 points. So that was done with eDime memory and very loose timings. So hopefully we can improve on that. I got a picture. Yeah, I think this is the hidden feature with this BIOS, where it doesn't actually get through the post. Now I'm almost tempted just to run 184. Anyway, we know to watch out for it. If it takes too long to post, you just got to hit the reset button, then wait for it to try and find that IDE, and then go from there. So let's just have a look at what we got set up in Windows. This is a fresh installation of Windows 8.1 Pro. I've done no tweaking whatsoever. I've installed the ME drivers, I've installed the Intel chipset drivers, and that is it. So we've got Command Center that is working, and we've got CPU-Z, we've got ASRock timing configurator, and then obviously I just have snapshots for saving the score. I do have GeekBench installed, but it doesn't create a desktop icon. Right. And this time I made sure I installed it off the stream so you guys can't steal my serial number. Okay, so we are there with no AC. Temperatures around -80. Whoop, that's not good. Just throw your flask on the motherboard. Yeah, I missed it. So while we're just busy with that, let's have a look at the leaderboard currently in this competition. I suspect that it is going to change drastically over the next few hours. Okay, A6, reboot. So currently we've got 12 extreme guys that have taken part. In the lead we've got Alex Rowe, then we've got Ralph, then Lummy, then Bruno, and then DrWeez, and then Joe 90BR in 6th place. So what we don't have in the top 6 places there is Extreme Addict or Hazan, who both have only submitted scores into one stage, and Wizardy, who's also only submitted one score. So I think, over the next 6 hours or so, we're going to see a flurry of new scores coming in. I personally spent the whole of Sunday, a good chunk of Saturday night, and a few hours last night and this morning trying to improve my XTU score. I managed to get it to 1792, but unfortunately my memory just isn't isn't up to it. Let's just take smaller steps. 105. We need to get some voltages set. I wonder if I've got anything saved in my book. What are we going to need? I think for 5G we should need like 1.4. No, I didn't write anything down for that. I've got your cold bug at minus 170 with 6320. That's handy news or information. 6320, 5.5, 1.2, okay. 1.65 volts, PL term. Okay, I've got some basic information here. Unfortunately, it's all for the impact. That's a good guideline. Alright, so let's just go wild and see what we can do here. And let's just go override mode. Core voltage, we'll start at 1.5. SA 1.3, IO 1.25. And let's just have a look here quickly. And 1.17. PLL 1.8. We'll see that auto for now. ST voltage, DRAM voltage 1.35. $155, 165. Okay, that memory should be fine. See the boots. I think it's way too much CPU voltage, but anyway. It doesn't like that. I dropped the CPU voltage there. Oh, come on. No, so I'm just getting 0, 0, and it's dropped the CPU core voltage. Very frustrating when it does that. Okay, so it could be cold bug. Okay. Start again. Yeah. Let's just do that. Hardcore, but yeah, why not? Who cares? DDR volts, auto. Okay, let's just make sure that the DDR is down. Let's just check that posts. -93. Oh. This motherboard doesn't have the modification done to it. So every time we cold bug, I'm going to need to unplug the bloody power supply. Hey. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Wow. This is going to be a painful session. Every time the board switches off, I have to unplug the power supply. Wow. That's going to be cray-cray. It's going to be cray-cray in the creek-cree. Oh, anyway. So that should be voltages. Your CPU voltage is at 1.8 volts. So 1.7 volts if you're reading minus. Now, the problem is we've got to overclock K with base clock. Non-K with base clock. Let's just go. Where shall we start? 125? Let's see. Okay, so we've got 0, 0. Now what you have to do is you have to power the board down, unplug the power from the motherboard, plug the power back on the motherboard, and power on. Bob's your uncle. Wow, that's going to really be hardcore. So let's just transition this across. Okay, you can't really see from that camera angle. If we have a look, okay, over here, what I've got is I've got a little extender which my power supply plugs into. So every time I need to switch it off and switch it on again, it's just really a matter of unplugging there and then plugging it back in again. So I'm not having to unplug from the motherboard every single time and damage the board. So it's a little bit of a handy tip. Okay, so we should be like 4.8 now. It's fairly straightforward, nothing too strenuous there. I don't know what the memory is at. Yeah, it's 2600. Alright, let's go more. So what voltages did I run on this processor before? For my best score currently, CPU-Z is reporting 1.95. Oh, shit, I didn't get into the bias. So the CPU can take volts. We must just watch the temperature. I wonder if it might not be a better idea for me to use a multimeter so the temperature's in front of me. Now we'll cross that bridge later. Okay, so let's just go and save this as 4800. Okay, let's do 135. Okay, what we got to keep an eye on is the memory frequency. And we'll basically just keep doing this until it stops posting. So switch it off. So it's at times like these I really regret not doing the mod on this board. The reason why I didn't do the mod on this board is because I've got a board with the mod on it. But that's the same board that's got 2 dead BIOS chips on it that I need to actually unsolder and resolder. So it's just a backlog of work, and unfortunately that business trip to the Congo didn't help my cause much. You know, it's really struggling for time to get everything in. But it's not a problem. We'll make do with what we got. At least we're not having the problem with the SATA. Not yet, anyway. Okay, 5.2. Memory is getting up there. I wonder if we should just run just to make sure we can run. Temperature is going to be a problem, I think. Minus 114. Okay, 11,700. Where are we in relation to the other guys now? Sorry, let's just open up the web page quickly. Right, so we're looking to at least take second place easily, which is currently on the board, and that is done at 5G on a 6100. So in theory, if I set the memory, I should be able to beat that score. Now, let's just have a look at what's going on there. Okay, I'll see some things I haven't done on the tuning. Okay, so before we can set any sort of memory, we need to do some of this. Let's just go ms config. And let's start with what did I have last time? Um, 1024 2048. That's 2 gig, 2.2 gig. Let's try 2048. Let's try that to start off with. Okay, I might need more than that. Okay, let's run it. So I think we're far enough into the video now to give away some secrets on the Z170i Gaming Pro OC. I did a lot of testing over the last couple of days on that board, and I've discovered a few little quirks on it. And yeah, the first quirk being if you're using Windows 10 or Windows 8 and you get a ME corruption, then you need to reinstall Windows. Oh, what's this thing being retarded now? 21770. So ME corruption requires you to flash the BIOS. When you flash the BIOS, you lose all of your saved profiles on USB. You can't get to them. Okay, if you use mFlash, you can still use the profiles that are in the BIOS. So if you save them to the 6 positions in the BIOS, then you're good to go. That's if ME recovers with the first flash, just an M on the mFlash. If you have to use TFTP, then you need to then you lose all your profiles. So it's not a major problem because there's not a lot of things to set there. It's quite straightforward. And Bob's your uncle. I just want to make this. Yeah, let me just. Okay, so that's the one little quirk, one little thing that took me a long time. So how do you know, or what happens when ME crashes in Windows? Well, you can't open Catalyst Control Center. Now the workaround, and let me tell you, if you've got the ME drivers already installed on an operating system, once it crashes on that operating system, basically that ME becomes useless. You can't use it again. I've even tried an image that I made with ME installed, and yeah, so if ME is installed, forget it. You can't get Control Center to run again. You just shit out of luck. What you have to do is you have to do a complete reinstallation. Uninstalling ME drivers, reinstalling ME drivers, none of that works. I tried it all. I spent days on this trying to figure it out. The workaround, the easy solution, the way I got around it was keep an image of your operating system without ME installed. Restore that image, reinstall ME, and Bob's your uncle, you're back up and running. Now, I don't want to lie to you and tell you that I figured that out in a matter of hours. I figured it out in a matter of days. It took me a hell of a long time. So that was the one little quirk. The other little quirk, the big one that everybody struggled with, because everybody I spoke to was unable to do any sort of changes using the command center in Windows once you had done changes in the BIOS. So there's a little hidden feature, once again, a little bug, that if you have got vCore set in the BIOS, you can't use Catalytic Control Center. It locks your multiplier down to an 8 times multiplier. Okay, so what that basically means, if you open up Control Center, like I'm showing you now, and you go and change another voltage, not even the CPU voltage, if there's a value in there other than auto, it would lock your multiplier to 8 times. That's a major problem, especially if you're trying to, find the sweet spot with your memory. You're having to go and change the memory voltage up and down in Windows as you're going along, right? So you can understand, as an overclocker, that's a big problem, not being able to change any voltages. Here again, there's a workaround for it, and it's very straightforward. In the BIOS, when setting up your clocks, what you needed to do is, instead of putting the voltage on override, you needed to put the voltage onto offset, and then offset your voltage by, say, like 0.200 or 0.300, depending on how much vCore you wanted. And Bob's your uncle, you then could go into the Control Center and tweak. So for those of you that were struggling with that, there's another little pro tip for you. That's how you can get around that very frustrating little board. I really am disappointed in my BDI memory. I think I could have done a lot better. But, it's just, you can only get so much out that you can get out. You can't make magic happen. Okay, so I think I'm cold bugging. What's the temperature? 135. Let's just try one more time. Yeah, so it's still cold bug. This is going to be bad. But anyway, so that was my fun and games. Basically, I had planned to stream, all my sessions on the weekend. But, it was just so frustrating. I eventually did have a very good session. The last session I had with the mini-itx, I think I ran for about 6 hours running XTU and 32M. Sadly, though, no improvement on my scores for the amount of effort put in. But it was a good learning curve. Okay, so what temperature was that? 121. Okay, so if you've got a 121 cold bug, it's going to be a very, very, very long session, man. You're constantly heating up, cooling down, heating up, cooling down. All right, so I've got no mouse. Do I have Windows? I've got Windows, no mouse. That's another problem that I haven't fixed on this board yet, is the USB overvoltage problem. When you run with liquid nitrogen, there's some fuses that really don't like cold temperatures, and you need to short those fuses out. But anyway, we just have to run this without a mouse. Old school keyboard. Can we? Benchmark, run benchmark. We can't run this without a mouse. Okay. There we go. We're back. So temperature is 135. And let's see where we are. Okay, so 141. Looks like this will finish. And the next tough one is a 55 or 45. Yeah. Okay. All right, so 12,600. And let's just go back to the competition. 12,600. So that will put me into current second place for that round. So let's go ahead and save that. 12665. I don't know if we need to save the validation file or not, but as a habit, I will just save it anyway. Let's go ahead and just take a screenshot. So we need to have the official background. Set as background. This resolution is not good. That resolution in my splitter, it doesn't work nicely. Let me just bypass it quickly. I can't. I don't have a screen. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Do this, and then do this. Okay, come back. Okay, sorry about that. What happened there was my BGA to HDMI splitter was freaking out and wasn't running so lacquer. Okay, so we need SPD, we need motherboard, memory, motherboard, and processor. Okay, making sure that any information is in the foreground as needed, and go ahead and save that. There's no limitation to our clocks, so you don't need to do any auditing on any of that. You just have to make sure that you've got all the required tabs and backgrounds in view. Alright, so let's go ahead and close all of that up. What we're going to do now is let's try and go another 10 base clock higher. What we'll do is, in fact, is just a save here. Save, what's it, blah. Okay, and let's go 155, right? So that should give me now a 6G file. Let's go 150, 5.8, let's go 152, 153, 154. Okay. And we should cold boot bug at 121. So again, I need to just switch it off, unplug, replug, switch on. Okay, still cold bugging. So now we switch off, we torch, unplug, replug. Okay, we're in. I got postcode 60. Zero, zero. So I wonder, to get into the safe mode, overclock failed. Might just be able to push reset 4 times. We'll give it a try if we don't post now. Okay, so postcode 98. Unplug, replug, power. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I pushed reset 4 times, and it's now stuck on postcode OD. Not responding to reset. Let's try power off, power on. 0, 0. Holy chalk and cheese. The advantage is that we do have a safe BIOS. So if we need to, we can just reset the BIOS and go and load it, and off we go. No need. So pushing reset 4 times did work. Now we need to come back here and go back to let's do 1 to 50. But I think what we need to now start doing is 1.8. It makes me exceptionally nervous to go here, but anyway, because I'm not at any sort of cold enough temperatures for 1.8, 1.9 volts. Two, 79, 90, yeah, we're in. Alright, so let's take stock of where we are. So 5.85, 150 base clock. Our memory is sitting pretty at 1600. And let's see if it is GeekBench stable. I think from this point, actually, what I'd like to do is I'd actually like to tune the memory. And 2 fish off hung. Okay. Let's get this tuned up. Clock watchdog timeout. Okay. Those all look reasonable. Come on. I thought it would pass, but it's done. This is the reset. Okay, PR voltage. Yeah. A little bit further. Not much. I think it's temperature. You know what? Let's go to our last table. Okay. And let's do this. And we can actually do it here. We can just do that. Let me pull it up. I missed one somewhere. 64, 64, 64, 11, 11, 11. Alright, so in theories, the CPU should be stable at this sort of temperature, this sort of voltage. Okay, so what's happened now is I think either ME might have crashed because we're sitting at 99 base clock. We're not sitting at the base clock we're supposed to be sitting at. So while yes, the memory has trained and everything's happy there, but we are sitting with that base clock, which is no good. So let's shut down. Then we need to switch off, unplug. We shouldn't have to reset the BIOS because there is a clock gen on here. So what we might have to do is get me a stretcher. Now the problem being, let's just have a look. Hold on. If we set it at 3866 and it was on 100 base clock, let's just have a look what we've got here. Did we load the wrong profile? Yes, we loaded the wrong profile. Okay, hold on. Let's just boot that profile and then come back in. Tell you what, if anything's going to drive me freaking insane, it's this having to unplug every time you reboot. It's my own fault. There is a solution. Alright, now let's go ahead and set some memory up here. So we're looking at 3866 odd. Now let's start off with the basics. You know what, we can actually, I forget, you can, oh wait a minute, you know what, I think when you load the preset, it defaults it all. Who needs the preset? I don't need the preset. I just thought it would be easier, but more of a pain in the ass than anything else. Okay. Once again, let's unplug the power and plug it back in. Right, so what have we got? Let's take stock. 12, 12, 12, 3866. Okay, we haven't touched the secondaries and we haven't touched the thirds, so that's all pretty nasty. Sure. But we'll get there. Let's go ahead and ensure that we are still actually running. Okay, so we're still stable. Okay, 13.2. I think we're getting close to my previous personal best. And 32772. Okay, and save the screenshot and we're done. So what we can try and do now is we can try and go up 5, 6, 7 and run again. So personal best 13589, and we've crashed on sharp pull today. Yeah. Okay, let's tighten it up some more. Come on. 6, 4, 6, 4, 4. Why'd I do that? Okay, we're coming on to just on an hour and 10 minutes of streaming. We're still within cold bug ranges. This really is my own fault for not taking the time to try and fix, but I didn't want to risk the good board before the end of the comp. I'll do a video on that, on removing the bias chip from the one board and put it onto the other board so I can recover the other board. Maybe bias flashback will decide to work, but I don't think so. The problem with bias flashback is that it will read the ROM on the board to make sure that you're matching the ROM on the USB to the ROM on the board. Now, the mistake I made was that I flashed the wrong ROM to the board. So bias flashback just will flat out won't work, unfortunately. I think the only method for me to recover this now is to unsolder the bias chip. For that, because I think it's 8-pin. Yeah, it's 8-pin chip. I'll have to use the hot air gun for that. And I've got a hot air station, but it's a bit risky because when you heat up the whole board, you can move other components. And you've got to be really delicate when doing that. Okay, we passed 2 fish. Now, I hate to say it, I'm catching up to my personal best on this benchmark with this processor. And the previous score was done at 6.17 some odd megahertz. And I'm right there. And I'm at 5.6 now only, and I'm not that far off from my past personal best. So it just shows you the difference that memory does make. So another bit of DrWeez's wisdom: every time you get a score that's better than your last score, do yourself a favor and save the screenshot. You can speak to any top overclocker and they'll all say, oh geez, I had this score, I thought I could do better, and then you can never get back to that score. Unfortunately, it's something that happens often. Alright, so that's all our tabs open, all the information required, and we just save that. Just leave that open. Right, so what I'm going to try and do now is stay in Windows. And make that 1.32. And once we reach our max, we then need to also take the time to see if messing around with Windows at all gives us any sort of advantage. Riveting stuff. Okay, and go for another base clock. Let's just do this. Hey, I think that's yeah, that's just shy of my personal best. I'm still about 1,000 points away from the current leaders. But I'm also a good 400, 500 megahertz away from the current leaders. 400 megahertz. Okay, so we're starting to get into the territory of my memory limit. And actually, we'll be able to do 2020 odd at these clocks. I was able to run 12, 11, 11, and 1950, but nothing more than that, unfortunately. These sticks are going to go up into the rubbish bin, or the for sale bin, as soon as I get my new ones. Okay, temperature 160. Okay. So that's not good. Okay, we passed 2 fish. Okay, so that's hung there. 0.8. Right, so we had that last. Oh. Alright, so we froze, the reset button's not working, which means the board is locked up, which means we're going to have to switch off, which means we're more than likely going to have to unplug the power cable, which means we're probably going to have to warm up to minus 120. Holy cow, dude. Hey. What an ache in the nether regions. Where's my reference? I've got a reference. I think it needs to go up to level 2.1 maybe. These low temperatures, it's really risky. Really, really risky. Who cares? Oh. I saw 55 on the postcode there. A new one. I might not be able to train at 147. It's trained. But is it stable? Okay, so we need to just get the temperature going again. Okay, past 2 fish. Okay, this should finish. Oh, you know what? I jinxed it. So what happened there is I set SA voltage to 1.32, which is in theory fine, yeah. But I was noticing on the baby board that it's having the same behavior the minute you set SA voltage within Windows. You'll just get that instant sort of OCP type behavior. PLL OC voltage. PLL OC voltage. PLL OC voltage. I'm going to go like 2.4. Yeah, 12. It finished. Still not my personal best though. And if we just go save, that's 20 better. 13548. Huh. That wasn't very nice. Oh, you know what it could be? I wonder. I've set those voltages very high in the BIOS because that's what you need to do. Now what it could be is that stupid software is causing some sort of OCP when I'm trying to change voltages. Which means we've lost the ability to base clock up in Windows. Wow, that's painful. Which means we've also lost the ability to change voltages in Windows. We can test that theory. Okay, now I also need to set, where's that other thing now? OC. Crying in a bucket. I need to program a buzzer that you guys can push on a website that like makes a light flash or something when things don't happen. If I'm busy, thinking or reading, and the bloody thing's waiting for a unplug. I think that would actually make it quite irritating or entertaining. I don't know which way you want to look at it. I will get my Raspberry Pi out and actually have a look at doing something like that. 21 point. Blue screen a death buzzer or something like that, just to make it interactive. I think it'll be crazy. Could be a lot of fun. Okay. Right, so let's test the theory quickly. don't change anything, click apply, and we shut down. So we've lost the ability to use control center completely. Oh, but wait a minute. We're now using the XOC BIOS. So if we use hot version, we might not have that problem. It might just be me that's been a dumbass. I keep forgetting. Okay. I'm glad I figured that one out. What's the time? 9:30. Oh, crying in a raincoat. Did I really just do that? Okay, drivers. Oh, why did we freeze? Okay, let's try again. Drivers, Godlike XPOWER, hot. Okay, so let's try changing 775. We're in business. Okay, so we are now at 147, 148, 148, 148. And let's see where we go. Okay, we passed 2 fish. So I'm looking at V1 on the screen. It's currently saying 2 volts on V1. Okay, we're frozen there. So V1 is connected up to V1 is connected up to DDR. So according to that, I've got 1.9 volts going to DDR. Is that about right? Yeah, it's about right. Let me get my multimeter and double check that. Where are my leads? Here they are. One 1.8. So yeah, it's okay, it's about right. So the calibration is still a little bit off from what you're seeing on screen to what I'm seeing. So I've got 1.88 on my multimeter. You're seeing 2 volts, so about 0.11 off. DFFT. One 1.8. Okay, let's see where we go with this one now. Okay, I think we're pretty much full pot now. Okay, let's see. DFFT. Ah, one worse. SFFT. Crash. Okay. Let's try. No, that was no go. That's frozen. Okay, so what's going on now? Crying in a bucket. Alright, there it is. Took long enough. 13616. That's officially my best score with this processor. Not in megahertz, but in score. Happy days, yay. We're missing memory. Okay, and that's it. Done. Let's go one higher. Uh, 149. So it was PLL OC voltage. Oh dear. Okay. You know, that's the second time it's done that. So in a nutshell, what happened there is it crashed on DFT test again at about 37 seconds. We were able to just hit the reset button, get back into Windows, and once we were back into Windows, I opened up Control Center to load the profile. And as I open it, it basically just locks up the whole system. Godlike OC 2.4. Call buggers 121. Yep, it comes back. Okay, dokie. Let's just load last. Pillar OC 1.52. That's not right, huh? Yeah, no, I'm not going to apply that. You know, like an idiot, we didn't take a screenshot of that last run that we finished. So, what was that's 148, 149. So we must have finished 149. We're gonna have to run a 149 again just to make sure. But I got a feeling it's not reading the values right. I wonder. Does this thing have direct base clock? It's frozen, eh? Yeah, it's frozen. I just had a brainwave about the OC panel, OC dashboard. Maybe that will work. Slow mode. Reset, discharge. You know, I'm not gonna win this competition. I don't know why I'm pushing so hard to try and do more than what I've already done. I must be honest, I don't know why or what my thinking is here. Let's just give it another 10 minutes, then we would have done, we've already done 2 hours. Okay, well, we might as well just wrap it up shortly then. Let's give this one a try. We'll try up to 1.9 volts. We'll see where we go with that. So we'll do this boot at 1.8 volts. We'll then, what is that now? That was strange. Anyway. Yeah, so these voltages are nowhere near right. And I think if we change, can we have a PLL option here? CPU, DRAM, which other one is down as well? PLL, PCH. Okay, nothing really helps us there. Okay, so that was 1.8 volts. Didn't pass. Okay, that's it. I'm done. I am done. I ain't warming up again to minus 120 and cooling back down again and warming back up again. I am done. Alright, so to recap, what we have managed to achieve today is a new personal best in GeekBench 3 multi-core. It was done at 5.8. My best score, we didn't save a screenshot because I thought I could do more. So I'm going to go ahead and say thanks for tuning in. I'll be back again on Thursday night for Pro OC Cup. We'll be doing W Prime 32M on the Broadwell E6950X. I'll be using the XPOWER Titanium Edition. Yeah, XPOWER Gaming Titanium Edition, I think it is. X99A XPOWER Gaming Titanium. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I think that's about it for this evening. I'll be uploading the score shortly. Guys, thanks for tuning in, and until next time, happy benching.